Okay, let's go. Good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the SusTour project. I greet all the partners and all those present, thanking them for their participation. Forgive me if I read my speech, but I don't speak English very well. Thanks, Google Translate. When we asked to participate in the SusTour project, our organization, which protects SMEs in the Roman territory, immediately joined it with enthusiasm for at least two good reasons. The first, tourism, as you can imagine, represents an important item of GDP for the city of the Rome, not only for those sectors directly attributable to it, such as hospitality, but also for all the related industries that revolve around it: food and wine, trade, transport, etc. A word made up of SMEs that are the core of our association. The second reason is instead represented by the fact that for at least 15 years now, the CNA of Rome has been involved in promoting sustainability among the SMEs of the territory, designing projects that help them implement its principles, encouraging what is first and foremost a cultural change. In a country like Italy, where 97% of the productive fabric is represented by MMPI and micro SMEs, you understand how important it is to approach this topic. We have here today two authoritative and important partners of the CNA of Rome, with whom we have been planning initiative aimed at the small and medium-sized enterprises for years. Mr. Fabrizio Santini of the Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile, Sustainable Development Foundation, and Mr. Domenico Petrolo of Nina International, with whom we will talk about networks of small businesses, sustainability, and tourism. But first, allow me a small presentation of the CNA of Rome and some projects that we have carried out on the topics of sustainability, green, and circular economy. I share. Si vede, Fabrizio?
Sì, si vede.
Perfetto. Who we are? Born in 1946, the CNA, National Confederation of Handicrafts and Small and Medium Enterprises of Rome, represents approximately 19,000 SMEs in the Italian capital. She's the largest association of SMEs in Rome and one of the largest in Italy. Our mission, sorry, we give support artisan business, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, freelancer, promoting their economic growth and competitiveness. This activity it develops through lobbying towards the territorial institutional interlocutors, regional and municipal, of the Rome area. Our values: innovation and sustainability, inclusion and local development, protecting the interest of our member businesses. Services offered: compliance consulting, professional and managerial training, access to credit, support for digital and ecological transition, enterprises creation. The importance of sustainability for SMEs. Why sustainability matters for SMEs? Sustainability is not just an ethical choice, but a necessity to remain competitive in a market increasingly focused on environmental and social responsibility. Some benefits for SMEs. Operational efficiency, reducing costs by optimizing resources. Access to European markets, increased opportunities to join supply chains requiring environmental certification. Consumer appeal, growing customer interest in responsible companies. Challenges, limited resources to implement changes. Need for training and specific skills. Adapting to increasingly stringent regulations. CNA of Roma's role. CNA supports SMEs by providing tools and knowledge to tackle these challenges, promoting the transition to sustainable business models. Some sustainability projects of CNA Rome last 3 years. The CNA of Rome has conceived and implemented various development projects about sustainability, green transition, and circular economy in Roma's mirrors over the years. Circular Economy, in partnership with Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile and Nina International, historical partners of CNA, had the objectives of accompanying Roman SMEs on a path of knowledge and training on recyclable materials, recycling techniques, and the opportunity of the circular economy to implement this model in their production processes, also through the support of expert consultants. Comunità energetiche, energy communities. The aim of project raising awareness in the territory of Rome and the province to start renewable energy communities, mixed communities of small enterprises and citizens, capable of reducing environmental impacts and improving contextual conditions. Thanks to the works of the CNA, a chair, energy community, was inaugurated in the municipality of Siciliano, a small municipality in Rome territory. Green fashion. The aim of the project, carried out in collaboration with the Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile, was to accompany Roman SMEs in the textile sector as a whole in a path of knowledge and training on sustainable fashion, recyclable and low environmental impact materials, recycling techniques, and the opportunity of the circular economy, the use of new digital tools. At the end, a report containing good practice and case histories was published, made available to SMEs and institutions. Roma efficiente e sostenibile, Efficient and Sustainable Rome. A proposal created in collaboration with Roma 3, the second most important university in Rome, and given to the city institution for the mobility of goods traffic in the city of Rome, alternative and sustainable. Roma più mobile è più efficiente. Rome more mobile is more efficient. Twin project of the previous one, it's a proposal created again in collaboration with the Roma 3 and given to the city institution. this time relating to the transport of people in the city of Rome, a very sensitive problem in our city. Startup Sustainability, Sustainable Startup project in partnership with the Fondazione Sviluppo Sostenibile Nina International, which consisted in a free service for business-looking and young entrepreneurs to integrate sustainability and circular economy principle into their business models. I criteri ESG ed i vantaggi per le PMI, ESG criteria and advantage for SMEs. Consulting and training activities for Roman SMEs regarding ESG criteria, with the aim of building a network of companies committed to sustainability. Green Building for Rome, Sustainability and Innovation for MSMEs. The main objective of the project is to promote and spread the culture of green building among Roman micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, highlighting the positive effects that derive from the adoption of sustainable building practice. Tour dei Castelli Romani, Castelli Romani Tour, a project in partnership with Rome Chamber of Commerce and Nina International. The Castelli Romani is a beautiful area just outside Rome, rich in history, art, culture, nature, and famous for its food and wine. The aim of the project is to train hospitality and catering SMEs regarding a strongly growing tourist segment, such as the open air and green, and to better attract more international tourist flows, especially high spending. Thanks. Okay, let's go with the guest speakers. Mr. Fabrizio Santini of the Sustainable Development Foundation, who will explain the foundation activities and tell us about a concrete case of business networks that promoted local economic development. Welcome, Fabrizio, and please get started.
Thank you, Ilario. It's a pleasure being here. We have so many people, 95 people attending to this conference. So thank you to all of you that you use a little bit of your time to stay with us. So my presentation will focus on some sustainable tourism projects and a little bit more than this. I will try to speak about that destination that was starting from a very low income situation in the 90s, and that today is one of the most important touristic destination in Tuscany. And it was a project that we ran together with the CNA, with Nina International, and with the foundation. Do you see my presentation?
Yes,
Hello?
Fabrizio, yes.
Okay. So just to tell you who I am, I was starting being a natural guide in the late 90s. Today, I have to wear sometimes a suit, and so I work with for the Sustainable Development Foundation since the establishment of this foundation in 2008. We are a group now of more than 80 people. We were starting in 14 people. Now we are 85. And among us, we are lawyer, engineer, mathematician, philosopher, sociologist. I am a social psychologist. So we work on sustainability from many points of view, and I will try with my presentation today to show you just a little bit of what we do. We do research. We are a kind of think tank. We are an NGO, not for profit organization. We organize workshop. We provide many trainings, and we help businesses, association, and municipalities and region to become in concrete with tangible action to become more sustainable. So let's focus a little bit more on tourism. Those are the association for which I work at the moment. I am in the national committee with Federparchi. Federparchi is the national association in Italy that care about all the protected areas. And in the European task force with Europark, Europark is the European association, we are working on the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, which is a certification that destination can have to become more sustainable. And it's the main focus of what I will speak today, because the territory you can see behind my screen, I think you see a little bit of where I am at the moment. I mean, the territory became what it is today thanks to this certification. Of course, as Ilario told you, we run many projects with CNA. Of course, at the moment, I will try to show you how we can translate in the tourism sector the 17 global development, sustainable development goals, the Agenda 2030. But then let's start and dig inside the presentation. So I will start telling to you some of our experience, and after my presentation, I guess Ilario can open the moment for some question. So where we are located, that's Italy. We are north of Rome. You see Latium is where Rome is. We are in the south of Tuscany. You see, normally when you think about Tuscany, it goes in your mind, that's the main, the headquarters of the national park. This is what we see from my office. But let's start indeed from here, because this was the story of this territory for more than, I can say, 5,000 years. Anyhow, the first mining activities were in the prehistorical time, then Etruscan time, but then the most important moment was last century, because the last mine were closing in 1994. So I was 24 years old when the mining activities here in this territory was going on. And so that's the place, that's the moment, that's the situation, the social, cultural, environmental situation from when we start, where we start here in this territory. And that's the situation today. We work with small and medium enterprises on green transition, on innovation. We work thanks to the contact of CNA Rome with Eleonora Riccio, that she is one of the main important person in CNA, working with coloring tissues and fabric with plants that are cultivated by some of the agriculture of the farmers of this area, the area of the park in the South Tuscany, where the place I was speaking with you about. And we are developing also energetic communities. So we try to look at the sustainability 360 degrees, not only tourism, but also something that is good for the community. Normally, European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, the methodology that guide us to reach all those targets and objectives, the slogan is good for local, good for people, good for nature. So what we try to do is not to create a territory where we do only tourism, but where tourism is one of the new assets of development of the area after a long story of industrial story. So my territory, this territory, was characterized not by wine, not by olive trees, not by about what you think when you think about Tuscany, but remember, we were starting from mining, so a territory that needs to make a big jump ahead towards sustainability. So that's the map of the park. We have a good news. We were starting in 2002. That's the date in which the ministerium established the park with 7 municipalities. Today we are 10 municipalities. I say we are because at the park I am the consultant for the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, and I follow the participative processes through which I will show you later all this we could afford because we work through involvement, engagement, and empowerment of the local communities. So now we have 3 new municipalities asking to enter in our park. We have 18 museums. We were starting 20 years ago with 2 museums, 20 years ago, 18 museums up to date. Museum means cooperative and small medium enterprises in the cultural topic that give work to people. In these 18 places now work more than 45 people. We work, of course, on education, but how did we make the jump? How did we make the jump from mining activities to sustainable tourist destination? Of course, we had many doubts at the beginning. In this process, citizens were involved, also mayors and politicians, policymakers of the area, but also businesses. So it was really a bottom up approach. And this is one of the examples. In this picture, you can see a room full of people. We work with some 150 small and medium enterprises of the area, of the 10 municipalities I was telling to you about, developing many projects, some for locals, some for tourism. If you give me a chance in the next slides, I will tell you better what we do. So participation. We were speaking about how the sustainable chart for sustainable tourism, which has 3 levels. Level 1 is for places, for destinations. Level 2 is for businesses, for partners. And level 3, part 3, is for tour operator. Because at the end, when you create new products, when you create a new way of making tourism, you need someone who is selling these products. And normally, a municipality, a national park is not able to sell. You need a private, and this private is a tour operator. And I will show you how this tour operator will work with us. It's not will, it is yet working to sell on the market sustainable tourism and to provide some new revenues for the local community. So that's the landscape, how you can imagine our landscape until the 60s, the 50s, the 80s, I told you, the beginning of the 90s. And that is the landscape today in the same place. That's a winery. That's a place where we produce wine today, wine that was planted there in the late 90s. So I remind you that it is a tradition in Tuscany, but it was not a tradition here in that place. And if someone of you can see the guy on the right of the picture, this is Renzo Piano. It's a very important artist that decided to to design the only cantina that he never designed in this part of Tuscany. But we are speaking about sustainability. This building is all sustainable. It's keeping all the water that is raining for the toilet and for the industrial and aircraft activities, is bringing the water to 3 artificial little lakes to give water to the plants. It doesn't work with pumps, so it brings on the terrace of this area the tractor, electrical tractor, that press the wine, and then with gravity, the wine go in the second cell that is underground. And you can see on the right the underground pyramid that keeps the temperature, and so you don't need also cooling. So I just was trying to tell to you some of the feature, but you can tell to me this is very simple. I mean, it's an Archistar. Of course, there will be a lot of money behind, but still speak with us about small and medium enterprises, and it's what we will see in the next slides. With every one of the small and medium enterprises, we sign a contract. That's an example of contract in which we, as a park and as a Sustainable Development Foundation, and he or her as a small and medium enterprises, we make a deal he have to do something for sustainability for the territory, and we have to do something for him, like marketing and commercialization. I will not go through those slides. I just will send to Ilario the slides so that he can share with you. But here you have a list of the many of the activities. Every 5 years, we have to apply to the European Commission for a new action plan that is made of many action. You see here we have about 70 action. From the title, you can guess. If you want, Ilario, I can send you also a translation in English. You can guess which are the action about. So I was telling to you a lot of things. I try to make a recap. First of all, I work for Sustainable Development Foundation. Second of all, the Sustainable Development Foundation is helping the National Park of Colline Metallifere, this area behind me, to become, to have a transition from really black economy, mining, to green economy, ecotourism, sustainable tourism. How we do? We do following an international certification. This certification is called European Charter for Sustainable Tourism that has three parts. The first one is to create some action working in a cooperative way with the local business. She's the owner of a farm, for example. Then we create together a scenario,
Sorry
what we would like to
Fabrizio,
have in 5 years.
excuse me
See?
Fabrizio, parlo in italiano così mi capisci subito. Noi siamo fermi alle slide sul Renzo Piano, non so se tu stai andando avanti.
I'm going ahead, yes, I'm going ahead. Sto andando avanti, non le vedi?
No, infatti mi sembrava che fossero un pochino in ritardo.
Io sono già a 4, 5, 6 slide
Noi
avanti.
siamo fermi a
Come
Renzo
faccio?
Piano.
Riprovo. Esco, aspetta, allora provo ad uscire e
Sorry.
a ricondividerle. Interrompi. Sorry, I think that Ilario told me that my slide were not going ahead. So I will try to interrupt my presentation and do it again. Now, can you see something now? Hello, Ilario?
Non si vedono. Io almeno non le vedo, non so Domenico. I don't see.
No. Sei in condivisione dello schermo. I am in condivision. I don't know. I interrupt again, but I don't really know what is happening. You can hear me anyhow.
No, anch'io non vedevo nulla, Fabrizio.
But also at
Ero
the
rimasto-
beginning of just now.
Now nothing. Now
To me, the picture now tell me you are sharing your presentation, and I see my presentation. You see nothing. You don't see presentation. Mm. Ilario, niente.
Adesso vediamo un'altra slide, Fabrizio. We see
Vedi
another
una
slide.
slide con
Sì,
a kind
titolo.
of contract, the contract I
Ecco,
was speaking about.
adesso sì, questo mi sembra
Then,
che siano
if I go ahead,
elenco azioni e temi
see a
chiave.
list. Okay. So that's the list. Sorry for the people who is listening to us. So we are again on the list, and I was telling to you that I will not spend so much time on the list. The list will be on your disposal because I will send my slide to Ilario. But from the list, you can have some idea. You can also copy. I mean, we copy other territories. We copy and we do better. So we have to share and try to copy good experiences. Ilario, fermami se non vedi che le slide che vanno avanti. Stanno andando avanti. They are going ahead now, the slides.
Siamo su elenco azioni, non so se dovevi ripartire da qui.
Ancora.
Sì,
No, I am in cooperative work.
no. Vuoi provare con PDF
Let
forse?
me try in this way. I will try not to make the big screen, but just to do it in this way. Interrupt the condivision. and then we open here, and then we try to do in that way. What is happening now? Do you see scenario?
No.
I don't really guess what can be, because as you saw, I was sharing my presentation, and I am with the fiber now connected, so it can be a problem of connection. Anyhow, perhaps there is a delay, not to let lose the time to the people. Try to let me go ahead, and then if you see something, tell me. I'm sharing my condivision. They hear the interface, graphic interface. They say in condivisione dello. Let me see on the chat. No, and in the chat there is someone who was writing to me. Ilario, intervieni. Vado avanti,
Guarda,
intanto
non si
parlando,
vedono.
ma
Se vuoi parlare, intanto sì. Vuoi provare col
che fa?
PDF? Ecco, gli
Interrompi.
scenari per la green economy. Ecco, ora si vedeva. Gli scenari per
Vedi,
la
come
green
li
economy.
tolgo ora si vedeva. Rimetto, non so che, gli scenari per la green economy. Questo. Condividi. Do you see something now?
Wait, we are waiting.
So now, I think there is a delay. I don't know why, but I go a bit ahead, and then when the slide will come, tell me. Okay? I'm on the scenario.
No, purtroppo no. Non so, io non le
I will try
vedo,
with the
lo
PDF.
vedo.
Let me try with the PDF. Let me try with the other version. And so, lavori, here, 2024, presentation, conference.
Come l'hai tolto da modalità presentazione lo vediamo, quindi forse puoi andare avanti così. Gli, gli
Per cui se
scenari
lo
per la
rimetto
green
in modalità
economy.
non presentazione,
Prova ad andare avanti, vediamo.
solo che adesso vedi qualcosa adesso?
Sustainable Business Partner, Sustainable Destination, Sustainable Tour Operators.
Sì, ma è molto strano perché io l'ho chiusa quella, per cui rimane veramente in memoria. L'ho chiusa per andare a aprire il PDF. Adesso rimetto lì Sustainable Partners. Così è veramente difficile, però. Allora,
Così,
non vedi niente.
ma tu stai condividendo lo schermo? Are you sharing the screen?
Sì, sto
The
condividendo
desktop?
lo schermo. I'm sharing the
You can
screen.
try to share the file, only the file, not the screen.
Ok, ok.
Fabrizio, occhio che poi scopriamo tutto. Eh,
Infatti,
ok.
Eh sì, ma non ho niente da nascondere.
All your secrets.
All my secrets. So, let me see in this way. What now?
we, we,
I'm sharing the
we,
file, not the
we
screen.
see you.
You are so beautiful.
You see me, but not the screen.
Not a screen. I think that you can talk without a slide. Is the good way.
Yeah, it's a pity because I don't anyhow.
Okay,
It's a
stop. We
real
see
pity.
something. We see something now. We watch
You see
something.
something now. You see GeoFoods.
Strategie di rigenerazione ambientale verso la green community e le colline metallifere. A slide with
See,
una,
I
pers-
think it's I think
una persona con delle
I think
cose.
it's something really crazy because I'm not on that slide, so I don't know how you can see it.
Renzo
Renzo
Piano.
I'm
Piano.
on the so there is something really
Joe
small on
Food.
the slow on the lights. GeoFoods.
I-
So
i-
our
i-
old slide that I was using 5 minutes ago.
If you want, I share the PDF
So
and
share
you
the PDF, please. Share the PDF.
e tu,
Yes,
tu mi
yes,
dici
yes.
quando andare
Try to share the
avanti.
PDF.
E mi dici quando
Yeah,
andare avanti.
of course. Yes, sì.
Però devi togliere la condivisione.
I interrupt my presentation. I was interrupting my presentation.
Sorry.
So sorry really for this inconvenience. So while Ilario is sharing my presentation on PDF, I had the PowerPoint. I'm going on to speak with you so we don't lose time. I was telling to you that this European Charter for Sustainable Tourism has three different phases, and the first one is to create an action plan. The action plan is based on some scenario, some idea of the future that we share together in participative processes. The phase two, okay, slides are coming finally,
Avanti.
and sorry again. Vai avanti, sì, go ahead, and then I will stop you when it's the right one. So here we see the three parts of the, vai avanti, avanti, again. So those here is the list. I was speaking about this list of action. You can go ahead again. Yeah, next one. 3 o 4 and ahead. Vai avanti 2 o 3, perché queste l'ho già dette. Solo che sto vedendo sempre le stesse. Vai avanti. Okay, those are the scenario. Go ahead again. Stop here. So this is a group of small and medium enterprises in the field of agriculture. Ilario, puoi andare alla slide precedente, per favore? So they are 89 farmers, local farmers. So finally, I'm speaking about small enterprises, local and family-owned farmers that we, as a national park, we put together and we help them to sell their products in the also great distribution. GDO, Coop is a supermarket, is a chain of supermarkets. I want to share with you a little bit this part of the project. It's not easy for small enterprises to approach the great supermarkets. So in this case, to be a national park and to have the possibility to go to the supermarket, to the chain, to the owner and say, we have behind us a group of farmers that produce with high sustainability. And Ilario, puoi andare alla prossima slide. And as you see from the next slide, we obtain for them a UNESCO sustainability logo. So if one of the questions that you have in your mind is, does sustainability use, it is helpful to conquer new niches of markets? The answer is yes. A little bit like how Ilario already said in his presentation. There is a market, there are a lot of customer oriented to this kind of product, and we have to pay a great attention to avoid greenwashing. So it's very important that certification are quite serious and effective. Ilario, la prossima.
Ancora?
Again. Sì. Again, so we are now to speak about the tour operator. No, troppo, ora me ne mandi avanti troppo, quella precedente.
Okay.
We are now speaking about the tour operator. This is a young couple, so again, a small enterprise that start a partnership with the national park, vai avanti adesso, having
Ancora?
working with us as a foundation, with me as a consultant, and with a group of people, small groups of people. We call them local ecotourism cooperative group. So it's a group of 5, 7 people. There is someone representing the business, someone representing the restaurants, someone representing the hotels, someone representing the municipalities, someone representing the museum, and all together we elaborate products, ecotourism product that then can be sold on the website of this tour operator. Vai avanti, per favore.
Dimmi quando mi devo fermare, eh? Io vado avanti?
Ora, now we are fermati. Now, so as you can see, we started 5 years ago with only one eco product. We have now, vai alla prossima, we have now 32 eco touristic products that we sell on the market. Ancora la prossima. And that we use for many different kind of tourism. One, it's the family tourism. The other one is the school and academic tourism. Vai avanti, per favore. The other one is the gastronomic tourism.
Vado avanti?
And the interesting is that you can click on one of those pages and you can directly buy with your credit card with an e-commerce approach. So very, very easy and smart for the customer. You have not to send us a mail to know if there is place. There is a calendar. You can book your experience, and this is one of the way in which we give value to the chain, to the supplier chain that I was showing to you just right before. So all this network of farmers, small and medium, also industry for the solar panels and transformation of food, all of this kind of people must be valorized on the markets. They have to sell. If we don't sell their product, it's only a blah blah. So let's go in the next slide. Vai alla prossima, per favore, Ilario.
Fatto. Ancora?
Ancora la prossima. That's an example of mine and wine. So we try to start for the wine, and that's an interesting activity that show you how this is not really greenwashing, but it's really green economy. Selling those products on the website that I was showing to you before, when you are a customer, the 3% of what you pay will be reinvested in the territory for compensation actions. So that's very interesting because with this tour operator, we as a park and as a foundation, we develop a ecotourism calculator. Puoi andare alla prossima slide, per favore? Ecotourism calculator, ancora la prossima. Developed with a global footprint network, and through this calculator, which is online, we can calculate the amount of CO2 emission that every customer coming by us buying one of those eco products emits coming making tourism by us in this territory, in the National Park of Colline Metallifere. So for what we use this number, vai avanti per favore Ilario. We use these numbers to read, that's the footprint calculator. Here's the web page where you can find it. We use it to know the real amount of CO2 that every tourist coming by us is emitting, and to create local activities for the compensation. We reduce what we can reduce, what we can't reduce, we compensate, but not planting a tree in Africa or in America, but doing something here by us. And most of the time, involving our tourists to do these things with us. Vai alla prossima, per favore, Ilario. Ilario, guarda, quando ti dico next, vuol dire next. Vuol dire la prossima. Next one. So the project was starting some years ago, as I told you, 5 years ago, where a group of professional testers came by us next and by other protected area of the Mediterranean area, and made an assessment of how much our ecotouristic product, when I say ecotouristic product, I mean half day of excursion, full day of excursion, 3 days sleeping, so something that you can sell on the market and has to do with tourism. Go to the next one, Ilario, please. And they were evaluating us on the sustainability and on the professionalism and of the proposal. So that's a ranking of many other natural parks all around the Mediterranean Sea. that were participating to this project. And as you see, in the first time, we were not so bad. We were not emitting so much. While next, Ilario, we were fourth. The next visit of the assessors, we were third. So you see, it's a methodology to push you to improve every time your situation, speaking about emission. And as you see, this calculator can give you information about how much you emit on activities, on mobility, on food, and on accommodation. Now I have the last slides that all these make in one example. So go to the next, Ilario, per favore. Ancora. Next one, next one, next one. We jump some slide and we go directly inside one of those ecotouristic packages. So you see, Tuscany, the heat of the earth. No, troppo. Poi indietro. Via Tuscany, the heat of the earth. Tuscany, the heat of the earth is the name of a 3-day or 4 days, I think. Questa, okay. 3 days or 4 days packages. And now I show you all what I was speaking about you a little bit in theory. I will show you with a concrete, a tangible example. Vai alla prossima, Ilario, next one. So you can arrive by us in many ways in the territory of by airplane, but if you can arrive by train, next one, Ilario, the first thing that we do is that we make a discount of the 7% of your price to push you to come by train and by bicycle. Next one, Ilario. Anyhow, all the noleggio con conducente, we call it's a kind of private taxi driver that work in partnership with us, they drive their car through after having a training in eco driving. This means that they reduce the emission of their driving by the 20%. It's a lot of reduction. So as you see, we pay attention since the beginning, since the arrival of the tourists, on how they arrive by us, and we try to help them to reduce their emission. Go to the next, Ilario, please. Ce l'ho ancora 5 minuti o sono fuori?
Tranquillo, vai tranquillo.
Okay. So that's an example of the training of eco driving. Ilario, mi vai sempre troppo veloce. Me ne vai 2 per volta.
Qua va bene?
Previous.
Ecco,
Previous, that's
driving.
one. Grazie. Scusami.
Eh,
See, that's an example of the training of eco driving. It's a training that we made, as Ilario told you, with CNA Roma. The same. It's a training that you can go by the place. You have not to hold the people to come to your headquarter, and you do it with a simulator. You see, then you go in your car and you try to guide with this new attitude, and you reduce the 20% of your emission. Go to the next, Ilario.
Bioarchitettura.
So now I will show you the 3 or 4 days of this how can I tell you, product, putting to you the feedback of the people that were coming by us. So you can see by themselves, you can read by yourself which was the feedbacks and we can say the reward that the people were telling to us. So first of all, we try to involve bioarchitecture small and medium enterprises who build those houses that are in wood. Those houses that you see in the picture are in wood class A. It means they are insulated, they use solar panel for the heating, photovoltaic panel for the electricity. The swimming pool doesn't use chemical stuff, but salt from the sea. and it's not near the sea. It's 20 kilometers from the sea. So anytime when we try to have to host our tourists in some bioarchitectural buildings. Next one, Ilario. Uh, okay, I have to say this you can't do everywhere in Italy, but in some place, yes. In this area of the natural park, there is the lack that nature gives to this place to have the possibility to produce energy through geothermal activities. But this we do in Tuscany, but you can do also south of Rome. You can do it near to Naples. They are still doing in Ferrara. So it's a methodology and it's an innovation that we can use, and it's a renewable and very low CO2 emission, low emission production of energy. So just to tell you that tourism, but go together with the right production of energy. Next one, Ilario. Also, I was telling to you that we were involving and engaging municipal policymakers in our process, in our project. Yeah. Also, how a municipality give public light to the city change the things. In this city, near to the park, where the place where I'm speaking to you, they change not only in this beautiful city, but all around the public lighting, putting LED lights, and this reduce of the 75% the economy fair, but also the emission and the consumption of energy. So this is something that you can do only if you work together with municipality. It's not small and medium enterprises that can do so. Small and medium enterprises can give their products to help the municipalities to change their lighting. Anyhow, I show you because when we go in this little village, we underline also this, and there's a group of tourists, especially from North Europe, that they do really appreciate this. Go to the next, Ilario, please. So another thing that we do is to work as more as is possible, going by bicycle, riding, and hiking or trekking. Those are example of trekking in which we go, and it's forbidden not to touch. I mean, in this area, we train the guides so that they involve people in doing things. They just not speak.
Fabrizio, we don't hear you. Connection problem.
Sembra che sia un attimo fermato. Vediamo se si ricollega.
Waiting for a moment.
Ilario, I was losing you at the moment in which we were
We
speaking about.
we lose you.
So we lose each other.
Wait a moment.
Can you put again the presentation? And we are quite near to the end. Go to the next one, please, if you can. Thank you. And sorry, really, really for this inconvenience. So again, involving people in doing things here. We are making a coffee on the ground because here the ground is very hot. I know. I told you geothermal energy. Think about it. This we can do. We can do it also in many other parts of Italy. Go to the next one, Ilario, per favore.
That's good.
Again, to the next. Now, I mean, those are just example of what we do, but I want to go. Then accessibility. That's another field, very interesting. Now, go to accessibility. In Italy, there is 8 million of people that are with mobility impaired. This kind of chair is called Joelette, and it's very helpful to involve in those trekking also people with problem of accessibility. If you go to the next slide, Ilario, you can see another kind of project that we are running on this park with deaf or blind people. So people that can move and they can see in the virtual reality a place where they can't go, or people that it's deaf and they can hear what we say as a guide through those special vibrating headphones. So again, tourism, innovation, and inclusion. So those are all topics that are connected together. And as you see in this, that is a touristic package. Go to the next one, please, Dario. Again, we speak about a lot about circularity for our area. By to the next. In our area, it's quite simple because it was a mining area, and the new mining of today is the places where we throw our garbage for many years. And that's another kind of small enterprise that we involve. It's a cultural enterprise and guide enterprise that work with person with handicap or just children that want to have an experience with pet therapy. Go ahead. This can seems to you that it's something quite. Next one. But who for the people who is Italian,
Indietro, Fabrizio,
Barbieria sull'asino. Barbieri sull'asino.
perché tu le vedi un po' in
If
ritardo, secondo me.
okay. This man is a famous Italian chef that he worked in television, and one of his show was made in our national park. So to tell you that all the things that what I was showing to you, all the things that I was indicating to you, we have also to make a lot of communication and work also far away from us. Not we have not to make promotion in our territory. That's why before I was telling to you that the farmer, the agricultural products are sold in the great supermarkets so that when you scan the QR code, you can have information of the territory from where the products are coming. We have to push people to come by us in many ways, also through TV. Vai avanti di una o due slide. So the next one is just again the TV show. Just to tell you that we try to make also national and international advertising. Also, the inclusion of migrant people, it's something that was inclusive in this product. We prepared many of the beaches, cleaning them with migrants and local people. Vai avanti ancora un po', anzi direi che a questo punto. Ah, no, la prossima, sì. The next one, because it's quite interesting how we were involving local restaurants in involving experience with tourists. So I was speaking with here, we are making Tuscania tortelli. It's a typical Tuscan dish. We are doing this with tourists. So again, in this, there is a value chain of small and medium enterprises, the restaurants, the person who make the pasta, the person and the enterprise who make the meal. So what we try to do in the traditional farm to fork approach from the European Union is really to undisclose to the people who is coming to visit our territory the chain of value and all the small and medium enterprises that are behind this product. I think we are near to the end. Yes, we are near to the end. Go ahead for 1 or 2 slides just to show you with some image again other places that we visit. And I'm not reading to you. That's the third day of this 3-day 3-day product. So I was trying to show you something tangible, something concrete, to show you that behind these beautiful pictures, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work together. Se mi vai alla prossima, per favore. There is a lot of work with especially small and medium enterprises to produce local. Here we are concentrated on farming and food, but not only. I was telling to you about handicraft, local product, and fabric and textile are all things that we try to put together in this touristic approach so that the people that come visiting us is aware of the big amount of possibility that the small medium enterprises of the area can offer to them. Ilario, ci siamo, vai alla fine, ci sono 2 o 3 slide di commiato, passale veloce, just to tell you that all certification are nothing without, it's just a badge. So we work together with people, we work together with small and medium enterprises, that the core business of the Sustainable Development Foundation. We make great deal with them and a specific contract I will show you with you. And of course, in our case, Tuscan region is helping us. In every region, there is the big region, Lazio in Rome and Campania, which has to play an important role in advocating and helping sustainable tourism to develop. So I'm here to the end. Go alla prossima because and then basta. I think we are near. Yeah, vai alla fine che c'è la mia, come dire, mail. So if someone wants to write to me, we just to give you the idea that we can do it together. It's not easy to give all the information by a web conference. Anyhow, here there is my true mail address, but also Hilario has my connection. I will send to him my slides so that if someone of you will have further question, I will be happy to answer. But I know that after Domenico, there will be a moment in which we can have a question and answer moment. Thank you to Hilario and thank you to all the rest of the people listening to me.
Thanks to you, Fabrizio. We will resume the discussion later in the roundtable phase. We have a moment for any question. Somebody have any question for Fabrizio? Come si dice? Come si dice timidi?
Don't be shy.
Shy?
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
No,
But perhaps I was a little bit boring or I was a little bit long.
You are
Don't be shy.
fantastic.
Don't be shy.
Fabrizio, you are fantastic.
So, let's go to Domenico.
Yeah. Thank you,
Raise your
Ilario.
hand. Okay, let's.
It's time
Thank
for
you,
Mr.
Ilario.
Domenico Petrolo, entrepreneur and president of Nina International, an all-around consultancy firm, who will talk to us about the Tour de Castelli Romani project, which I told you about before, created with Domenico and his staff, as well as with the contribution of the Chambers of Commerce of Rome. Please, Domenico.
Thank you, Ilario. Thank you, CNA. Thank you, all the partners. Thank you, the people that stay with us today. Well, little introduction. Talk about this project. This something before about tourism. That information that you know. You know that tourism is the sector that has felt the effect of the pandemic the most, and the entire industry that has had to rely on various support from local and national governments to survive. But in addition, in addition to sports, it is also necessary to change things and take note that tourism will change, as it is already doing. Attention to the digital and accessibility, and the thinking about a tourism system that doesn't consume, but rather allow for sustainable and integrated enjoyment of the country. In Italy, but in all the world, the coronavirus has accentuated and exploded the specific trends, such as open air and green tourism, which involves individual spaces and away from the mad crowd, also with a personalized and tailor-made service. More interest in village and small town, more attention to our widespread heritage, connection with the seat of the heart, thinking about a proposal that can combine food and wine made in Italy, culture, and respect for environment. The sustainable tourism is a new way of traveling and a valid alternative to the classic tourist destinations. Also because we are in a time of over-tourism, and all the city of art in Italy, there are a lot of tourism, and this can crash the system. For this, the need to privilege discovery new territories and aims to limit the impact on the environment as much as possible, encouraging direct knowledge of new cultures, tradition, local communities, and a naturalistic context of great interest. Italy has a lot of displays and can and try to propose a new way of tourism. In recent years, more and more tourists are choosing sustainable tourism to organize trips and experience around the world. And surely this new, more ethical and responsible approach will be in future strong, growth, and expansion. The main goals of sustainable tourism are to reduce the impact of tourism activity on the environment and people, and to safeguard territories both from a naturalistic, social, and an economic point of view. For these important principles, we organize this important point of view. We organize this project that was called Tour of Castelli Romani. Castelli Romani, like said Ilario, is a place near Rome. Is composed by a small village, by lake, nature, tradition, and important heritage construction. There is also the summer residence of the Pope, and for this is a point of attraction for many people. Ilario, I share my small presentation. Yes, about it.
You can, Domenico.
Okay, ecco.
Yes.
You see?
Ancora no?
Now?
Facciamo una cosa. Ti
Oppure-
rendo co-organizzatore perché secondo me c'è...
Ma qua mi dice sei in condivisione schermo, mi
Ma
dice.
non lo vediamo. Che c'è? Un doppio schermo? Double
No.
screen? Ora è
Vuoi
partito.
continuare? È partito?
Sì.
Now we see.
Thank you. Well, why, in which way we organize this project? The idea of this project is to promote this place among the international tour operator, to give them a new destination for Italy. And for this, we organize this in connection with the TTG. TTG is the most important international event in Italy about tourism. After this, we presented this project at the TTG, and at the same time, at the end of TTG, with a group of international buyer come from Rimini, Emilia-Romagna, to Rome to visit this beautiful place. The tour is organized to show them all the point of the important element of this territory. As you can see, there is a lake, there is monument, there is the nature, and we organized 3 days about the ancient ruins, Roman ruins, like with the walk, with the park. The tour on the lake, somebody tour on the lake. There are many lakes, and it's important for the tourism outdoor, for the sport, and also, as you can imagine, also for the part of the food, traditional food in this place. Well, for us, it's important, this project, because we have a request from a tour operator of Castelli to valorize, to support their product. And at the same time, maybe a good occasion also for buyer to promote another place that is different from Rome, from Florence, from the traditional city. After this tour, we do a survey. We did a survey among the tour operator, the buyers, because we want to know what they think, and their answers were good for us. In fact, for many people, was the first time. For the most of them, was the first time in Lazio. And in this play, we try our goal, because in this way, they know a new place. The most important thing is this: they promote this place in their work. And also, they declared the 3 top experience in this post-tour. As you can see, the first place is the Pontifical Gardens of Castel Gandolfo, that is the garden of the summer residence of the Pope. Then, sometime we did also a survey among the tour operator of Castelli, because for us it's important to know also what they think about. They think about this experience and about the sustainable tourism. Well, for a lot of them, is an occasion, is an important opportunity for the future to attract, to be more attractive with the international tourists, especially with some tourists of some place of the world. For example, the north of Europe, Norway, Finland, or Germany, that they love to come in the nature, to go in the nature, to stay with the animal in the nature, to do many sportive men, for example. In fact, for example, I read you some answer of some tour operator of the Castelli at our survey. One tour operator said, in addition to the outstanding hospitality formula, we're opening a farm where we will offer the service of teaching farm, social farm, assisted therapies with animal, and more. We have invested in rebuilding tiles among the vineyard. Castelli Romani is a place with a lot of vineyards, the good wine, white wine especially. These are experiences that we sell both to international tour operators and to local tourism, and they have an extremely positive response. Then they are so happy to invest in this way because for them, maybe the future, especially we stay near a big city of art. Other important elements that emerged from this survey are that it is to work with the guest in organizing his journey because we manage the hospitality partner with the traveler to help them discover and the full experience of the area. It's important the role of the manager, of the tour operator, on a complete experience that allows tourists to experience the area firsthand in the components that are their greatest interest. Emblematic is the part of transformation of the offer described by a company in Aricia. Aricia, for example, is a place in which they has a good food that is called porchetta. Porchetta is a way to cook the pig. And they revisited this space to allow tourists to see the porchetta production process up close, have a testing space in which to stop and have a shop in which to purchase the products they have just experienced. This is a type of offer coupled entirely of a large international organized tourism groups that within the program of their stay in Rome can include a day in the Castelli to experience typical food and wine. In this way, they try to attract the people that stay in Rome, they sleep in Rome. The possibility of work in a short supply chain perspective is another street of the area on which or where it's necessary to invest more from the point of view of organization and consolidation. The outdoor dimension is very important to reference the initiative, and experience can be made to individual, family, and sportsmen. It's necessary a work tailor-made and a personalization of initiative and perspective that the tour manager offers to the tourist. It's important to make trails accessible and workable. For example, the park, the lakes, and the trails, an important resource that can attract many people, which I said before. But it's important that the offer is organized is as such a way that one hand it's allowed to be able to work. In line with this, we need, for example, some operators want to create a mountain bike school to help publicize and develop this offer, and also allow to establish a new occasion. In a final, we can say that the outdoor proposal should be thought of as a differentiated offer that allow both to meet the needs of those seeking a refreshment and a detachment from the rhythms and the place of the city, and to offer structured experience to tourists who have more qualified needs. Castelli Romani, in the next, we find in this experience a lot of tour operators that they think this is opportunity. The green tourism, tourism in the country, tourism with the animal, the sport tourism. After the coronavirus, maybe another opportunity and at the same time, maybe on a high occasion, to be sustainably and to respect the environment. I don't thank you for your attention. Grazie, Dario.
Thanks, Domenico.
Thanks, Domenico.
Any question for Domenico about the project Tour dei Castelli Romani? Tutti timidi. Okay, so now let's take a break. See you at 17:45. Okay? See you later.
Okay, see you later. Thank you.
Well, welcome back. Let's start the roundtable with our guests now. If no one has anything against it, I would like to ask to Fabrizio Santini the first question. Based on your experience and that of the Sustainable Development Foundation, but also on what you have shown now, you have shown us previously, do you think it is mandatory for SMEs to move to the green transition, and why?
So thank you, Larry, for this question. Mandatory. It's becoming mandatory for many direction and directive from the European level. But I would not speak about mandatory. I would speak about it's highly suggested. I mean, it's also convenient. A study that we conducted as a Sustainable Development Foundation some years ago show that core green or go green enterprises. So there are these two typologies, core green and go green. They were more resilient during the pandemic and after the pandemic. They put into action more innovation. They export more. So at least 10, 12% more than traditional. And then we have also to think, as you said before in your presentation, that many times to be sustainable, it means to be efficient. So to avoid misuse of energy and to have good management of energy and waste. So, and all the other resources. So my answer should be yes, and not because it is mandatory, but because it's convenient, because this is the future.
Thanks, Fabrizio. And now a question for Domenico. How important do you think it's for tourism business to approach a sustainable model, and why?
Thank you, Ilario. Thank you, Ilario. It's very important because now the world, all the consumer want and need respect of the environment. And the consumer, the tourist, is the core business of the structure. The structure can't think that they do the work in the old style and the old way, because when a tourist choose a place to sleep, a place to visit, want to know if they are sustainable, for example, for the energy, for the water, for the garbage, for everything. If they are, if a structure like a hotel or restaurant is kilometer zero or is in a circuit, in a confederation of a company that respect the environment, and they are in a confederation of companies sustainable, for the tourist is a plus, is value, and it choice this place for this. Now, I think that there is no way. This is the only way in which the structure can imagine the touristic structure. They can imagine their future and to stay in this world and to work with the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Domenico. Any question from the public? We are waiting. So I have another question for Fabrizio. Which are the production sectors that are most ready for the green transition, and which ones instead need to learn the principle of sustainability the most? We have seen l'audio.
The
We have seen
microphone.
The fashion sector is
Yeah, and nobody knows that the fashion is the second or the third major emitters of the world, so polluters of the world. So I mean, very important. But you know, it's difficult to answer which sector because since more than 10 years, at least in Italy, but in all Europe, we have data. We have many data. As I told you, the foundation is a think tank, so we study a lot. We see, we do directly research, or we try to study the research that are around, for example, of the ILO, the International Labor Organization, and many others. Um, I mean, my answer should better be politicians and policymakers are the people that need major training. Most of the companies are moving towards a more green economy. As I told you, as a foundation, we built two categories: the core green, so in which the core activities is green, and the go green. So some other industry, for example, buildings or energy that normally the core is not green, but they can become green. From my experience, most of the people that lack in training and in knowledge and in awareness in how much, as Domenico said, this is the future, are policymakers. Policymakers is the people with, when I work, I have major problems. Anyhow, just to give you some little hints, fashion is doing a lot in green economy. Agriculture too. You know that Italy is the first nation in Europe for the percentage of organic production. Now there is a new frontier. The new frontier, the new border is the regenerative agriculture. That it's a little bit more than bio or organic. Organic is I try not to harm the nature. Regenerative is I give to the nature more than what I take. And this is something interesting. We have, anyhow, in Italy, many farmers that are switching from organic to this more futuristic frontier, which is the regenerative. Automotive in Italy, but in Italy we have to say we have no more automotive. But anyhow, automotive, there are some of the industries that are very, very the frontier, the front line, and some other not. Speaking about small and medium enterprises, I would speak more about these small enterprises that are in the chain and that they can produce many object in the supplier chain, for example, also for auto, that which are green, for example, using plastic coming from vegetables, which is an Italian patent. Nobody knows, but Novamont is the Italian company that discovered the possibility to make plastic from plants. So I don't know if I was answering to you. The answer in synthesis is the industrial sector is doing a lot since many years. They start the big industry. Now they are arriving also the small and medium. The people who need more to go fast are really politicians and policymakers.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Any question?
Elena.
Elena.
A lot of shy people in this 150 people.
I don't know about the others, but I took this this opportunity. So I would like to make a question on Mr. Fabrizio. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he said that you do some agreements with SMEs, how you say it, to change to adjust to sustainable practices, and you promise that you help them with a promotion, something like that. So, do you find some difficulties or challenging convincing businesses on using the sustainable practices or not? And what are these? Do you hear me?
Fabrizio is freezed.
We must wait to Fabrizio to come back. Ecco. Fabrizio, open the voice.
Microphone.
Open the microphone.
I had a breakdown just while Elena was speaking, and so sorry, really sorry. The question was for me or was for Domenico?
For you, Fabrizio.
For Mr. Fabrizio, but I think that I heard
Elena,
from
sorry.
you,
Really sorry.
according for the agreements that you do with some businesses, SMEs, how you say it, that
Yes.
to use sustainable practices, you promise them to help them in another way, for example, on promotion or marketing, you said.
Yes.
This is why that you find difficulty in convincing them using the sustainable practices or not?
No, I was not having troubles to convince them. As I told before at Ilario, business are every time very keen and ready to put in action some sustainable action or approach. Just because we make this deal, as I told you before, so natural park and private businesses, just because in this way we can build together an action plan and we can measure our results. So if we set objective, if they set objective, we can control each other and push each other to do better every year. So that's the question why we make a contract, a kind of deal. And it is also because this is the way we work when we work with the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, which is it's a very serious certification. It's not greenwashing. So you have to see and to check what you do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, madam.
Other questions? Okay, I have one for Domenico. We talked about Castelli Romani, but do you think that the city of Rome, we live in Rome, could become even more attractive if it embraced the culture of sustainability?
I think it's not easy for the city, especially in this time, because we have the problem of the over tourism in all the city of the Europe. And this is the sustainability is a big challenge for the city because we have a lot of people in the world that they must start to travel. For example, if we think about all the Chinese, Indian, African population, African people, and in the next time, we have a lot of tourists that come in the capital of Europe, of America, and the other city in the world. Also, the over-tourism is a problem of whole the nation. Also in Japan, we have a problem with the over-tourism. And for this, is not city to be sustainable for a city because we have a problem with the garbage, we have a problem with the water, we have a problem with the traffic, we have a problem with the mobility. It's a big challenge, I have not answered, but is it the challenge of the future for the life of the city? And to have tourists to say welcome to tourists and sometime to be sustainable, also be a good place to live for the normal people. Thank you, Ilario.
Thank you, Domenico.
sorry, Ilario, may I add something to what Domenico said? May I say something?
Non ho capito, Fabrizio, scusami.
Ilario,
Sì,
posso dire una cosa in aggiunta a
Puoi dire
Domenico?
quello che
sei
vuoi.
libero,
Sei freestyle.
freestyle,
Ho capito, ma il team sei, you're the team leader. Yes, I totally agree with Domenico.
democratic.
With cities like Rome, like with city like Rome, like Istanbul, it's very hard. But anyhow, I have to point out that some cities in Europe are trying to become more sustainable, as Domenico said, first of all for the citizen of the city. And one of the strategy is to have the courage to be brave enough to dare enough to close the number of the people that can go in this city. Venice is starting to do it. Florence is starting to do it. Paris, Hamburg, they are trying not to close their number, but to become more and more sustainable. Freiburg in Germany, it's one of the cities that the people go to visit. They call the solar city. So try to think what we could do in Italy because Freiburg is one of the best and of the first in Europe for the energy produced by solar panels, is trying to do this kind of things. Malmö in Sweden is trying to do this kind of things. Ferla in Sicily, in Italy, Salerno. So you see, there are some cities, but as Domenico said, for big cities as Rome, it's a great challenge that seems to be impossible to face and to cope with. But in this case, we have to start with a better life for locals and redistribute the economy on the surroundings, as Domenico showed very good with the Castelli Romano tour.
Thank you, Fabrizio. I have another question for you. You mentioned the terrible topic of greenwashing before. How does this theme manifest itself in tourism? And in general, what are the weapons we have to recognize this phenomenon?
So it's right. Greenwashing is behind the corner every time, just because, as Domenico said, today green is fashion to also. But there are many ways to face greenwashing. First of all, European Commission just in February of this year established a new directive, the 825, that it is against the green washing, and it gives a lot of hints and information on how to avoid and which are the bills that the companies has to pay. Second of all is to start a process of certification. There are many in the world, Ecolabel, ISO 24001 for the tourism. There is European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. There is a new standard that is now arriving from United Nations that is called Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So those are not greenwashing. And again, we have to measure what we do and to see which are the real emissions. That's why I was pointing out and underlining in my presentation how important is the footprint calculator that we developed in the park where I work. Because then many people say, oh, I go with my quad on the nature, so I do things in the nature, so that's green. No, that's not green at all. I take a helicopter and I go from here to there and I see the nature behind me, but that's not sustainable at all. So it's not doing things in the nature that transform them automatically in green. You have to calculate the footprint. You have to calculate this. And there are up to date many tools, digital tools that help territories to calculate the emission, to work in an integrated way on waste management, mobility management, energy management, food chain management, the way we do the gadget. Think about all the gadgets that come from China in plastic. I mean, we have to start doing gadgets here through handicraft. So the tradition of the artisanal tradition of Italy. So in synthesis, greenwashing is there behind the corner. We have some tool. Those tools are European directive and certification. Third point, pay attention of the emission. That's the point. Emission, emission, emission. That's the only real way to see if we are doing something green or not. Reducing emission and compensating local, not in another continent. We have to compensate there.
Thanks. Thanks.
Now,
Now,
Milonas, I saw a hand rising finally.
hi, my friend. Hi,
Hello,
Naum.
hello, dear Hilario. Hello, thank you so much for this excellent event yesterday, this night. Thank you so much, also Domenico and also Fabrizio for these very interesting presentations. Okay, I'm assistant professor from Department of Tourism, Ionian University, which is one of the partners in SusTour project. I'm academic responsible for Ionian University. I would like to ask you about the role of DMMOs, Destination Management and Marketing Organizations. Do you have some active DMMOs in order to support all these attempts about sustainable tourism development in this region? Do you have an active presence of DMMOs? This is a question because it is related also to our research about DMMOs and the potential of DMO in order to support and to enhance the sustainable development in terms of tourism. Thank you.
Thank you, Naum, for your question. Thank you also for the congratulations. Yes, in the case study, I was presenting in this area of Tuscany. So I have to tell you, in every part of the world, destinations are organized in a different way, as you know very good. In Tuscany, in Italy, there is a mix of national board and regional boards. The regional board is still too big. Imagine all Tuscany is too big. So we created by a regional law in 2016, local destination area that are 28 in Tuscany. The area where I work with the park, where I was the things I was telling to you before, it's a DMO that is working in close connection with us. And there is not only a DMO, but there is also a DMC, so a destination management company. And the company is the tour operator that you saw before in my presentation. Because then, of course, DMO, strategy, advertising tools, but then you have to go in the market, you have to jump in the market, or the territory will not see the results that you are trying to carry with them. Because the things is, of course, sustainability is not only a question of money, but it's also a question of money. I mean, when you work with small businesses, you have to show that their way of behaving, their way of new behaving, is worthwhile. So I hope I gave you an answer.
Very well. Thank you very much. Therefore, private organizations and industry is more active in order to support this.
By us, the DMO is public, the DMC is private.
Is private, yes. Very good.
The DMO is a kind of congregation of the 10 municipalities, the park, and some representative of the business. Then the DMC, it's a private company that won a call for tender from the public sector that has to, the next 5 years, do a list of things and we check if they are doing or not and bring results. So company, marketing oriented, organization, strategy oriented.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Another question for you, if I can, Fabrizio. You mentioned, among other, Paris as a sustainable city.
Yeah.
But it seems clear to me that a sustainable model is currently more applicable in smaller realities. How can this be reconciled with the phenomenon of increasingly larger and more populated cities? Is it a problem of change perspective? Dobbiamo tornare tutti nei paesi?
So, Ilaria, I vote for coming back in countries. I was living in Rome, Hamburg, and Paris, and I am back now in a small village of 257 people living there here. So a little bit of digital divide, as you say, as you saw, because sometimes the line is making breakdown. But anyhow, not really far away. With the train, in 2 hours and a half, I am in Rome. In 2 hours, I am in Florence. But this is not the only option, because if everyone will come back to the small villages, then we will have not the quietness that we like. No, that's a joke. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story is it is true. Normally we start, if you are curious, look at the Italian Green City Network. It's an organization made up by the foundation I work with, that make a list of big Turin, Milan, and very small cities in Italy that are trying to do something to be more sustainable. When I speak about Paris, because Paris is one of the first cities in Europe that is trying to really put in action the 15 minutes city. This means that 15 minutes around you, you have everything you need. And of course, there is gentrification in Paris too, as in Florence, as in Rome. That's why I was telling to you before that politicians and policymakers, they need training and we need to work with them. They need to understand that sustainability is economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, social and cultural sustainability. And you have to work with four of them, all of them in an integrated project. There is some city, not big. I have to tell you something. I was in 2016 in Beijing, in China, of course, Peking. And I was working there for the Chinese Ministry of Mobility. I was afraid to go there because you know, Ilario, me better than the other. I care about nature since I was 16 years old, or 10 years old. So it's a lot of time that I care about nature and environment. And so I was thinking, if I go to China, I will see that the world is finished. Beijing is one of the most sustainable city that I never visited. I mean, you have to see the kind of waste collection they do. You have to see the care that they have also in the poor neighborhoods of the public green. So, of course, there is a great pollution. I mean, it's a little bit provocative, but to tell you that it's a journey from somewhere you have to start. And normally, when big cities start to become more sustainable, they start with pilot project in small neighborhood and in small quarters. So you start from small, you try to see that the model is going good, is functioning, and then you can say to the other people, you look at them, they did it, so let's do it together. And this is kind of contagious, and it's spread around. I hope I was giving you a
Yes.
sufficient clear answer.
It's the idea with the project Tour de Castelli Romani, a small territory is an example for Rome, for the giant Rome is near the Castelli
See,
Romani.
I mean, they have different problems, but anyhow, I would suggest to start from a neighborhood of Rome. From a quarter, from Testaccio, you know, or let's start from northeast. Let's start from northeast. That we know that in Rome there is a big difference between north and south of Rome.
The problem probably is municipio. Il municipio.
I would start from the municipio level, as we said in
But
Rome.
the municipio, the municipi in Rome have
No power.
no much money
Ah,
for
not much
this.
money. But okay, I don't want to say every time the same thing, but it's not every time a question of money. Do you know what this project that I was showing to you in the area, this in the park? We work with 300,000 euros every year. That is not much if you think about the projects. Many money is coming from European projects. I mean, if you change your mind, then you do things. And remember, we have the next generation misused in Italy, but we have the next generation EU, the NRR. I mean, we can have a lot of money from there, but with right ideas,
So money is the excuse that is
Anyhow,
used. Um, you could go into more detail about eco-friendly driving. I remind everyone that we have developed a project together on this topic, the
yeah.
impact of
We developed a project
eco-driving.
together some years ago. Yeah.
Uh,
Eco driving
2021.
was something starting what 2021, I think, yes. There was part of the training we made with the mask, so was in the 2021 because it was the COVID period. So eco driving. There is another question, another thing, another topic I would like to speak very fast about. Many policymakers they say, but you green, you want to do all too fast. But I remind, not you, because I think the people that is in front of me, you know, but I remind you policymakers that the first definition of sustainable development is 1987 with the Brundtland Commission, that the first Rio conference is 1992, that the first book on the limit to growth is 1972, and that eco driving was born in the 90s, so 20 years ago. So what is eco driving? Eco driving is something that was born in the German Deutsche Bahn, in the German railways, and at the beginning was for train drivers, not car drivers, because also a train, which is electric, you can drive it in an efficient and ecological way, or you can drive it at the opposite way, so giving a lot of energy, using a lot of the brake. So they discover. I was in this period. I was in Paris working with an agency, an international agency called Chemin de Fer International. It is an association of train. Anyhow, Deutsche Bahn said, I make to my drivers the training, I teach them to spare a lot of energy, and half of the money that we spare, I give back to them in their monthly earning money. This was, of course, in Italy, I think it would be hard to do it. Then this methodology was swift to the cars, to cars that are the electric engine, or better, the diesel or fuel normal engine, the old style. So as you said, as you saw before from the photo, from the pictures in my presentation, there are some companies. One of them is the foundation I work for. That we made a training in Sweden, because in Sweden there is a company that develop a software that allow you to train 4 hours of training. You can train together until 20 person and 20 people in front of you. So also this is not one by one. You don't use your car because you are inside a room, a classroom. But then after the training, you can go out. This is incredible effective because I mean, do you imagine what it means to spare 20% of your emission? It's true, but also of your fuel and so of your money. If you are a big company that has a lot of car, taxis and van, That's why, of course, CNA made this course training with us, but we try to apply this to a touristic destination. Because normally you don't think, okay, mobility, but mobility in small places is made by public transportation, on-demand transportation, people coming by car, a lot of people moving because in small center as we are, it's not everything in your village. You have to move, and sometimes these movements are 20, 25 kilometers. So this training has a great success since the year we began here in the park. And now we are doing this with municipality workers, with hotel owners, with tour operator, taxi drivers. So it's something that it's incredible. So take a look, eco driving. If you look eco driving on internet and eco driving in Italy, you will find us.
I remember this project with great pleasure and 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 curiosity. Another question. You mentioned Geopark.
Yes.
How is this team
What are
developing in Italy and abroad?
So GeoPark is a project that was born in the late 90s in the UNESCO. At the beginning was a project under the auspices of UNESCO. Since 2015, it's a project now, it's a program, it's a UNESCO program, the International Geoscience Program. Around the world, there are now more than 230 geopark in China, in Italy, in Europe, not in USA, not in Russia, but just because they believe to be the best of the world, so they don't need UNESCO, perhaps. It's a little, I'm a little bit stingy, but anyhow. Uh, um, so in Italy, there are 11 UNESCO geopark. To be a geopark, you need to apply. You don't become geopark from nothing. You need to apply to the UNESCO section. You have to create a very deep reporting on your territory. And again, you have to show that you are working on geology and people. So those are the two pillars of or UNESCO Geopark. It's not enough if you have a good geology. You never Yellowstone in USA could never became if they wanted become a UNESCO Geopark because there is nobody living there. I mean, Geopark is a place where there is people, normally as in my territory, but in Sardinia, in Calabria, in many, in Abruzzi, in the Italian Alps, normally a territory far away from the big cities that has to face problem of new challenges of development, of green transition, of isolation, of depopulation. And all of these, it's something that goes a little bit in the same direction. I have to tell you, I think I had a slide that I was not projecting because I had too much slides. But in the park, we use the UNESCO Geopark as a vision. And then we use the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, which is another company, it's a Europark, but as a tool. So vision and then tool, tangible tool to do things. Because UNESCO tell you more the big values, the horizon, sets the environment, but then doesn't give you really a concrete tool. European Charter, it is a tool. It's a way, it's a participatory process to involve really the tissue of a territory. So civil, locals, politician, and business. Using it's a methodology that was developed in the Palo Alto University. It's the triple helix methodology of change. I mean, if you try in all the project to put together who has the knowledge, so school, university, but also pupils, education, who has the power, the politics, and who has the money, and then you remember to all of them that they are all citizens of this area, then you put in action a very fast way of changing.
Thanks a lot, Fabrizio. Any question? No, it's okay.
Yes, thank you very much. According to geoparks, I would like to add in this discussion that also in Greece during the last years there is a trend to support geoparks. We have
Yeah.
5 or 6 very popular geoparks, especially in the islands, in Greek islands. I mean, in Lesbos
I know
Island.
them very good.
Exactly, and also
Lesbo. You know,
in
do you know Ilias? I think you know Ilias from Lesbo.
okay.
Ilias Valiakos. Ilias
Well,
Valiakos from
from the
Lesbos.
university, maybe University of Aegean, as I remember. Yes, because University of Aegean,
Also,
exactly. Yes, because University of Aegean is a stakeholder of this petrified forest
yeah,
geopark, which
yeah,
is the most popular in
yeah,
Greece. Also, we have 2 or 3 in Creta Island, also another one in Ionian Islands. Ionian Islands is our territory because Ionian University is found in Ionian Islands. In Kefalonia, there is a very popular also a new one, a geopark. And also in the same line, there is a trend also to support as a dimension of sustainable tourism during the last years in several European places. Also, the dark sky parks. It's a new trend to
yeah.
reveal another
Yes, yes, yes.
dimension of sustainable tourism. And also in Kefalonia, there is a dark sky park, very famous, and becomes more and more interesting in terms of activities, etc. Okay.
That's another interesting thing. So territories where there is no light because there is not so much population, and that
Exactly.
in the past they were considered to be abandoned over there. Now
Mhm.
they have a new opportunity. I was coming just now from Ireland, where I
Mhm.
was at the end of October of the European meeting, and there the first weekend of November they have the European Festival of Sky Park.
Sky.
Another one is Tenerife in the Canary, and another one is by us here in Tuscany because we have no light at all, as I was showing to you with the slide. And also most of the municipalities are reducing the lights, and we have a lot of flow of tourists interested. So when there is someone who tell me, no, you understand nothing because the future is the bike. Every time I say, no, there is not only one future. There are many niches of people that can come in different moment of the year. So not making over tourism. So accessible tourism, outdoor tourism, sky tourism, academic tourism. We do a lot with Geopark, with geology university, a lot of this. You're mixing studying and enjoying the territory and enjoying all the culture of the place. So many niches, and we have to help answering also to Elena before. Another thing that we try to give back to the companies when they ask, we call for action when we sign our contract is training, information, connection with international trends. So we being an international park, we have contract with what is happening at the bigger level.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Uh, let's talk about public administration. From what you know, let's leave Rome aside. Are there more virtuous regions in Italy that invest in sustainable tourism?
I have to say, Lazio is doing interesting things in the last period.
Lazio, not
There
Rome.
was a great, yeah, yeah, not Rome, Rome. Don't speak every time about Rome. I know that you are CNA Rome, but at Rome, it's very big. It was a big city 2,000 years ago. It is a big city. And so, but it has to take in Rome. And you know that I was living in Rome for 20 years. So I'm not a tourist in Rome. I was making my primary school there, my university in Rome, and I start working there. I mean, in Rome, I have to change politician, but also the people living in Rome. So citizens, they have to change if they want to change, if they want to see a changement. It's
Yeah.
not every time, but Roman people are so intelligent and smart, but also ironic that it's difficult to change them. Anyhow, coming to your question, there are, of course, Tuscany and Trentino Alto Adige as region are doing a lot in sustainable. I have to say they do a lot. Emilia Romagna, the same. Emilia Romagna, much more in mechatronic and innovation, much more than in tourism. But Emilia Romagna is very strong for that. And then there are provinces. For example, in Latium, there is Rieti that is making not bad, Viterbo the same, so north of the Latium. There is a place, Salerno in Campania, and all the provinces that they are doing interesting things about sustainability. And then I was mentioning before, but I suggest you to look out for information about Ferla. Perla, it's a small village in Sicily where a group of municipalities, they create a network under Catania, south of Catania, near Ragusa, and they were starting in very bad situation. They had, for example, the 3% of differentiation in the waste management, and with again participatory processes, and they rediscover tourism. They are now at 75% of waste differentiation, which is good also for tourists. Because if tourists go in a place where the waste is managed in a terrible way, I mean, waste management, it is important. It's another weak point of Rome, I know. But anyhow, Rome has not to find every time an excuse because there are big cities in the world that are doing things. For example, San Francisco. So, I mean, it's a bit an excuse.
Um, I'm Good evening. I'm Luca Ritano from
Hi, Luca.
Sapienza University of
Ciao, Luca.
Rome.
Hi, Luca.
I also greet my friend Naum Milonas
Hi,
from Ionian
hi,
University
my friend.
and my friend Ilario Melis from CNA Rome. I teach communication of the territory and of the heritage, so I'm particularly interested on idea sustainability. That is the key topic of this project, which I am the project manager. But one thing in particular, one particular question come up in mind. As Ilario mentioned, you spoke about the geopark, UNESCO geopark. There is an interesting, there are several, as you know. There is one in Cyprus, one in Andalusia, and others in different countries of the world. In particular, in Sicily, CNA, that is the association that Ilario knows very well, has a prototype of district of sustainable tourism that could be watched as a possible model. I'm wondering if why and if it's possible to use a European network as UNESCO Geopark to irradiate a different model of tourism, a different model of also of, let's say, experience of the territory, but also a different model of governance of local tourism projects. In particular, for example, the DMO in Sicily is the only one where the key actor is an association of SMEs and not the public, not small association. So what do you think about Geopark as possible cluster that can, let's say, build a new way of new and experience territory on a European scale, not more on a local scale, but a European scale? What do you think? And how can we implement this strategy? What could be needed? More European projects, more cooperation, how between... So that is the question. Quite wide in order to allow you to provide the best answer, I hope.
So, Luca, the question is, it's for me or it's for all of us?
For Fabrizio, you were talking, but also
Okay.
for Domenico and
Okay.
also
Okay.
for Naum.
So,
It's a
of
round
course,
table.
Of course, in the UNESCO network, world network, there are regional network, as Luca pointed out, and one of those regional network is the European one, European network for Geopark. Of course, Geopark can be one of the way in which we foster and we enhance the possibility to become a sustainable destination. Of course, is not the only one, because to be part of this network, you must be a UNESCO Geopark, which is not easy. Sardinia lost the certification some years ago. So we were 12, now in Italy we are 11. Some of them are, because when you get the certification, I tell you, because in my park we had since 2010, then every 4 years, there is a new assessment and you can lose it if you don't work in a good way, if you don't reach some results. So yes, Geopark can be a help, not the only one, because in this way you put out the territory that are not Geopark. Being a Geopark, as I tell you, and continuing to be a Geopark is not easy. So you have to, as policymaker, you have to believe in this project, but then continue to do this project every 4 years, and then not stop after that you get the logo, because then this UNESCO logo, after 4 years, you can lose it. The other thing I tell you, I work a bit with European Geopark Network. You know, I am from Tuscany, so I try to say the truth normally. They know quite nothing about tourism. They are quite self-referential. I mean, tourism, it's another thing. Enhancement of cultural heritage, intangible heritage, geological heritage is their stuff. But tourism, you need professional of tourism. You need professional DMOs, manager. You need professional DMC, because then you have to go on the market. Again, if you don't go on the market, so we try to do as a European Geopark network something about tourism, but just to tell you, go and see their website. It seems to be made in the 90s. So
I agree, but
so the answer is it could be. It could be.
that's it. Because I agree on the fact that the totality of a geopark doesn't know nothing about tourism, but there are interesting experience. For example, in Sicily, Core Sicilia, they go to the market, they go to TTG, they sell
Good.
package, they make money, they have already tourists arriving there that spend money to visit the UNESCO Geopark as a territorial touristic brand. It's the first experience in Italy. But I also was in Andalusia, where on the Chamber of Commerce Andalusia, the topic was how we can use the geopark, how we can use a geopark to implement tourism for the area, for the inner part of Andalusia. So to move the tourists from Granada and the Alhambra, that is a problem, a massive problem over tourism, inside Sierra Nevada and the geopark. So the question are there. We need a model. We have one in Sicily that will work very well. And we is not the past or the present or the future, but could be, is not the past or the present of the experiential tourism. But and you answered on this, could be the future. We can readapt part of this network in a different way. As in Sicily is happening, as in Andalusia they need, and probably my friend Naum will answer on this. Also, Greece has these needs. So yes, they don't do tourism, but they have all the potentiality to do, and they are already here. Working model, you go to the market and sell.
That's true.
And sell touristic products. And is a for Sicilian. Yes, please.
Sorry, Luca. I would suggest you to put together, as I told before, have a look to Colline Metallifere Tuscan Mining UNESCO Geopark, which is another best practice in Italy. We use the Geoparco network and logo to become a destination, because before Colline Metallifere, nobody knew where they were. But as I told you, in our experience, UNESCO gave the horizon, set the values, the big principles, but then you have to go down deep in
You need
concrete
a
and tangible
DMO.
things.
You need a DMO that work on this stuff. And
DMO and
ENNA,
DMC, yes, I agree with you.
and in ENNA there is a DMO and DMC, and I guess that we can implement this model in an European framework, not the totality of geopark, but also the 30% would distribute these values around Europe.
They're waiting for you. I mean, if you do, they're waiting for you.
Yes. Okay. We can talk each other. Okay. So the same question is, of course, for Naum in Greece and Domenico Petrolo, I guess, was the other speaker. Okay. Naum, you want to start?
Yes, of course. Okay. I guess that we should discuss firstly the first question, Luca, about the necessity, for a European framework. Uh, of course, yes, it could be. It's again the response, the reply on that. Of course, we need mechanism. We need also funding, but a prerequisite in order to design all these new types of sustainable tourism as geoparks, dark sky parks, etc., as we discussed earlier on, is to develop strong DMMOs. This is my point, to be honest. We need frameworks. We need mechanisms. We need some destination planners, policymakers, technocrats, in order to design, effective interventions, and also to create some stakeholders networks in order to exploit some good best practices coming from industry, coming from universities, coming from research centers, to exploit all of them in a correct sequence, and also to design all these new types of sustainable tourism. Of course, in Europe, you can see great differences on that. We can see, for example, some countries with some good records, some good, performance, but we can see also a chaotic difference with some other countries without, infrastructure, without any policies, etc. Of course, it needs, collaboration within European Union in order to support all these, initiatives. Okay, about the situation in Greece, there are several attempts. I referred earlier on about geoparks in some islands like Lesbos, like Crete, like Kefalonia, like the area of Zagori in Epirus district, another very important case. But the problem is, as I thought before, the lack of destination planners, the lack of DMMOs. This is the problem. In Greek case, we have no DMMOs now. We have no, all these attempts, are an output of some, progressive, some dynamic prefectures or some dynamic municipalities to support these initiatives. No, there is no a framework of DMMOs behind these successes. This is the problem for me. It is of critical importance to support European mechanism, firstly, and secondly, to support DMMOs within EU countries in order to implement all these policies.
Thanks, Naum. Thanks. I agree 100% with what you are saying.
Sorry, Luca. Domenico have to go.
Yeah, excuse me, Luca, excuse me, all. I must go because today is the birthday of my son, and I must go to take the cake for close the, the place. And clue. Thank you for thank you, Ilario, thank you, CNA, thank you all the people for this good event, good webinar, and good have a nice evening. Ciao,
Thank you very
Ilario.
much for your contribution.
Ciao,
Ciao.
Domenico.
Thank you very
Ciao.
much.
Thanks for
Ciao
all.
Domenico, thank you. Say hello to your son.
Domenico.
Bye.
So I agree with what you say, Naum. In fact, the geopark is a chance and let's say a possible starter for a good for because the matter is a governance, is the model of governance, and then is the model of how I go to the market. There is a model that use the geopark brand for this. So we can start from here because there is already existing European network. It's difficult to invent another one. So we start is a starting point with some local experience that work very well. But the idea is to bring this experience as a common, let's say, value, but also a common model, possible model, how the MEO works. This what is what we need. Is all the key topic of an element. For example, I insist with Sicily because it works, not because I love Sicily, but they sell. They sell. They already sell all the tourist
It's good to
packages
love
from.
Sicily.
Huh?
It's good to love Sicily anyhow.
It's good. Yes, it's good for Sicily. Yes. They sell. They go
No,
to the
it's
market. Okay. So that's is a problem. Probably there are others, but I don't think that are so much developed. So it's a problem of governance. It's a problem of local stakeholder. Is a problem how who is going to drive this DMO? Who is going to be the let's say the main actor of this DMO? For me, the answer, and we are in a CNA event, should be the small and medium enterprises or association of small and medium enterprises to drive it. Because otherwise, a manager paid for by the public authority, no, doesn't work. In Italy, we have many DMO that work in this way, and honestly, I don't see they working. There is one Monti Lepini al Mare in Lazio. There is another one. There are several. I don't see they work very well.
Anche
There is other
Tivoli in Lazio.
also Tivoli, but Tivoli also is not exactly a very well working model. So let's think about this topic, insert in European framework, and also try to elaborate a European framework for DMO, for how to, which are the steps to implement, adopt and adapt this model to different European countries. Could be UNESCO Geopark, could be everything else, but this framework is already there. And in particular, is specialized for the tourism of inner areas and rural areas. This, I guess, Geopark could work very well for this particular kind of model of tourism. Thanks for the links, Fabrizio.
Look, I was putting some links on the chat so you can have some looks to something else. I know the project called Sicilia because as a Geopark, we are in the same network. Try to have a look to, of course, you know, perhaps to European Geopark network, but to our park, Parco Colline Metallifere, to our DMC, Visit Maremma, and I put you just to give you an idea of other models possible. The law of Tuscany with the ambiti. The ambiti is the name of the destination. It's our name for destination. Just model that you can try to apply
Thank
or to
you.
see. Or
Thank you very much.
I'm anyhow at your disposal in other moment of this project if you have if you want to have some more
I
information.
can, yes, I can send you my email address here. So let's keep in touch.
Ilario has my presentation. Thank you. I see your yeah. So I will write to you a mail from my with some information about the park, and then we can keep in contact.
Let's also mention that my Professor Naum Milonas is one that also has any year has an international conference on tourism in Corfu. So I guess yes, we can also keep in touch each other for future
for sure
possible commitments. Since I appreciate your speech and obviously your competence. Now, I guess, Ilario, that we arrived more or less at the end of the meeting. I don't know if you have let's say a closing speech for this webinar.
I speak much at start. If there are no other questions, we can close. Luca?
I guess then on 18:52, people is thinking about dinner. so I guess that
it's dinner time. It's dinner time. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you all. Thank you all for participating. Hi, Naum. Bye.
Thank you so much, my friend Ilario, for this very interesting.
Ilario, no,
thanks,
but
Fabrizio.
there is 1 second. Well, maybe also we can keep in touch with Fabrizio Santini. As Ilario knows, in the 17th and the 16th and 17th, we will be in Rome with the Multiply event. So if you would like, I don't want to abuse of your time. You're very kind to be with us today. In case
16 and 17 of December, you mean?
But one day, yes, we will decide in a few days which one will be for the Multiply event, where we show the results of SusTour and also try to imagine the next step of SusTour, because SusTour, of course, is a start for us. So keep in mind that the three universities are very collaborative very well, and they intend to move on with future projects.
Yes, of course, Luca.
Just let me know the dates.
It might be a pleasure to meet in person, Fabrizio. It might be a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Naum. Thank you, Luca, for the invitation. Ilario, let me know the dates, that if I am not out in those days from some European project, I will come to Rome and I will meet them in person. If it will be not possible, just keep in contact with our email. Okay, let's keep in contact.
There is also Elena Kumparai, means is a Greek student.
Elena Kumparai is from Ionia University.
Okay.
A student.
Bye.
Okay. Elena.
Thank you again. Thank you again.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Ciao.
See you.
Grazie, buonasera a tutti.
At the next meeting. Grazie Fabrizio. Grazie. Ciao Luca.
Thank you all, grazie a te. Ciao, buonasera.
Bye.
Ciao a tutti.
Bye, ciao Luca, è stato un piacere. Naum, ciao. Naum.
Ciao, grazie.
Naum.
Fabrizio.
Ciao.
It was a pleasure. Bye.
Thank you so much.